My name is Kozak, and I graduated in 2008.
Oh my
10
God.
years ago. 10
Oh my
years
God.
ago. Oh my God. I was working as a stunt woman in Hollywood for 25 years. And I did high falls, stair falls, and train falls, and car hits, and bike hits, and
Wow.
fire burns.
And you're still alive?
I'm still alive. And driving. And I basically set out and did everything that I had challenged myself to do as a stunt woman. And I became intimate with fear. And I believe that a great power comes from walking into what literally terrifies you the most. I'm going back to the job where I was hired as a stunt woman to jump out of a helicopter. I had to jump out of that helicopter on top of the tallest building in downtown LA. It was the US Bank building. I think it's still the tallest building downtown. And I jumped, and I didn't hit right. I hit wrong. It's the title of one of the books I've been working on since I graduated. And the stunt coordinator asked for a second take, and I jumped again. And that time I knew I was injured. And then he came to me and he said, "Honey, have you got another one in you?" And I said, for the first time in my career, I had to say, "I'm hurt. I can't do it, bud." And I was removed from set. There's carts that the electricians use to put their cable in, and the stuntman flung me over his shoulders, and they put me in a cart. And I was taken downstairs, and I called my mentor, who graduated from USM 10 years prior. She drove me to the hospital, got x-rays, and found out I'd broken both heels, my calcaneus, and she brought me home and she put me in the bathtub and she took me out, she put me in bed, she left. And I was laying in bed, and the tears that started to come up for me was a culmination of 45 years of having no relationship with my mother. And my mother was left brain damaged by her second husband, who was abusive. And I watched that abuse for 5 years. And I remember going to Ron when I decided to enroll here and I said, "Ron, my mom has brain damage. How am I going to heal this relationship?" And he told me I would be able to heal it. And my sister had said to me, I think the year prior, "Hannah, don't you think it's time for you to forgive Mom?" And I remember I got very quiet, and inside I thought, it's too late. I can't forgive her. There's too much pain, there's too much anger, there's too much hurt. And I suffered from depression when I would go to see her, or guilt if I didn't see her. And then I came up with this brilliant plan: just don't go see her. And I did that for about 25 years. But when I was laying in bed and I got out on my knees and crawled to my hallway closet, because that's where I kept all my stunt equipment, I put on some knee pads and crawled into the kitchen because my cat needed to be fed. And I got back in bed and I set the intention. At that moment I said, I'm going to heal my relationship with my mother. I don't know how I'm going to, but I'm going to. And I knew about the curriculum here because of my stunt mentor, and I signed up. And the first time I came here, we were upstairs. There's a great big window, and someone started to share, and then someone else started to share, and someone else started to share. And they were all so vulnerable, and it was so intimate. And I remember thinking, I would rather jump out of that window backwards on fire than get up in front of people and talk about things that hurt. My father's survived 8 Nazi forced labor camps, and he taught me that you don't show your emotions. You don't feel anything. And so the first year, I think I only shared once. That was it. But something happened in these walls. I felt held. There was so much love, and there's something magical that happens in here. And I started to open up, and I started to become vulnerable. And I thought, I don't even know who this person is. And I started to heal with my mother in year 2, but initially I remember taking her on a drive down Pacific Coast Highway. And she reached out to touch me, my hair, and I recoiled. And now I'm in love with her. And I have to say that my mother used to think no one loved her. She told me that. And when she goes to take her last breath, my mother knows that I love her, and I think it's the most important work I've ever done in my entire life. She was my relationship project, and because of the tools I was given here, because of Ron and Mary, and learning to stop judging her, and really what I learned, the most important was I had to forgive myself for judging her, because my mother didn't do anything wrong. She was living her life. She had 5 kids, all 1 year apart. I would have left too, frankly. There was something else I wanted to say, but my other project was to be a stills photographer. And 1 year after I finished this course, I started about half a dozen projects, photo essays, and there was an article recently published, I think it was in Forbes, and Mary saw it. My show is at the Los Angeles Museum of the Holocaust right now. It took me 9 years. I retraced my father's steps to Poland, and I went to Germany and Prague, and I have visited 18 concentration camps, including the 8 he was in. And my show is up for 3 months. I have a photography show. And I've also done a project on my mother. He threw the last punch too hard, and that made it to Duke University as a first finalist for their first book prize in photography. So everything I set out to do at USM, it came to fruition, like 100%. I can't say enough about what this school has done for my life. I was very, very angry. I was really angry at my mom. And I actually, I don't know what would have happened to me if I hadn't come here. And thank God I broke both my heels.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Hannah.